Today I'm going to be covering some fun variations of the exercise Sanford Double Beat. Nick Edwards already did a great video on the standard exercise, breaking it down measure by measure, so I'm not going to cover much of that in detail. But let's start off with the standard exercise. In the first variation of this exercise, we're going to add double stops to every 2-measure phrase. The purpose of doing the double stops is simply to help build your chops. You're going to be working harder, working both hands simultaneously. And it also gives you a chance just to check the symmetry of your playing. So ideally you want your right and your left sticks to move in a symmetrical fashion. If they're moving exactly together, they're more than likely creating the same exact sound, so you're going to have really good hand-to-hand sound quality. Really check out the angles of the sticks, both at the bottom of the stroke. So you should be able to see this angle that the stick makes with the drum head, both in the left hand and in the right hand. You can sort of see this angle here. You want those to be equal, and then also at the top of the stroke. When you're watching yourself in a video or in the mirror, which you should be practicing in front of a mirror, just check the height of your beads, so they should be coming up to the same height. But just as importantly, check out the angle of the sticks. So you don't want like the same height but different weird angles happening like this. So same height, same angles. Also, when you're playing the double stops, it of course gives you a chance to make sure that you're playing clean with yourself. You can train your ear to hear clean versus dirty. Clean. Not quite as clean, a little bit dirty. You don't want to hear any flams. It should sound like one note. The next version is a natural extension of the previous version. We're going to be playing the entire exercise as double stops. In this next version, we fill in all of the 16th note rests with notes on the opposite hand. And the entire exercise will be played with the right hand lead, and then it's also meant to be played with the reverse sticking, so off the left. You'll notice at this slower tempo for the double beat, all the filled in notes should be upstrokes or velocity strokes. The stick will never be frozen in the down position. And it's really important just to make sure you're getting that same velocity as you are on the right hand. Ideally it should sound like tuk-a-tuk-a-tuk-a-tuk-a-tuk. You shouldn't be able to hear what the sticking is. It should just sound like a stream of 16 notes. When we get to the triple beats, however, since the left hand is going to be filling in essentially every quarter note, it's sort of a no man's land in terms of, do you rebound the stick or do you freeze it down and then reinitiate a stroke? And at this tempo, which is 100 beats per minute, I definitely prefer to freeze the stick down. It's important when you're doing those downstrokes that you're not changing the sound quality. You don't want it to be, you don't want that poundy sound, so make sure you're approaching it just like you would any sort of accent to tap stroke. You're not squeezing extra hard in your hand or your fulcrum or anything like that. The next version is a 2-height version, and the right hand is going to be staying at the accented height, and the left hand is going to be dropped down to a tap height. The next version is also 2 heights. The right hand is going to be at the tap height, and the left hand is going to be accented. So the obvious application here is Putadas. In the next version, we fill in the Hertas. So it gets a lot busier rhythmically, but the right hand is still playing the same exact thing. Next version is one of my favorites. It combines the 2 heights with the Hertas. The next version, we're only going to be playing the double stroke, the double beat half of the exercise, so no triple beat, but we're going to be tossing an extra diddle onto the second note of every double stroke. There's 2 different ways you can approach this version. You can do sort of a relaxed 2 height where the diddle, you're playing on the second note, it's somewhere between 6 and 9 inches, and in the strict 2 height version, you're going down for a tap height diddle. next version builds off that. We're filling in the left hand and playing Paradiddle Lefts. And again, you can play this the relaxed 2-height version, so the left hand's going to be hanging out at the same height as the diddle, so somewhere between 6 and 9. Or the strict version where all the taps are going to be down at 3 inches. Next version also builds off the diddle on the second note, but instead of Paradiddle Lefts, we're going to play same-handed flam drakes. And since we are playing flams, I like to keep the left hand down at 3 inches. And the right hand, again, you could do relaxed or strict. This next version is sort of like double stops, but we're delaying the left hand by a 32nd note. So if you checked out the transcribe this lick number 2, this might look slightly familiar. The last version for today is an exercise in independence. So we're going to be playing double beat and triple beat simultaneously with each hand. So right hand's going to start with triple beat, and left hand's going to start with double beat. So together.